Hello, Internet! Welcome to Renegades React, where we will be reacting to some game theory. Luigi, the richest man in the Mushroom Kingdom.
Duh.
Not only rich in character, but rich in funds.
Well, yeah. Luigi's Mansion.
Yeah,
Done.
no shit. Anyway.
Because that game's fantastic.
Yeah. So, we've made it well known that we are sometimes critical of Matt Pat's theories.
Yeah.
Some of them. But whenever it concerns our favorite green-suited plumber, you know, Luigi.
Is there another green-suited plumber?
There was one that used to work on the building at my at one of my previous residences. He was pretty cool. His name was Devin. He was actually a pretty cool guy. He would always blare Pantera while he was working on the plumbing in some apartments. It was awesome because I love Pantera.
I feel like there's a joke there.
Not really.
I don't know.
But if you could find one, I think I'd find it hilarious.
No, I don't think you would. Anyway,
we're off mic if you want to do it.
Nope.
Okay.
It's fine.
All right.
We're not off mic. I know you.
No, I'll cut it out.
No, it's fine.
Okay, fine. All right, so game theory, Luigi, the richest man in the Mushroom Kingdom. I guess this is going to assess, Luigi's mansion and all the funds that he finds and everything, and just the size of the mansion, depending. Well, go ahead.
So you now get into an interesting problem where you're now having to convert between a virtual fictional economy and real world economy. Which is going to require making some massive assumptions. For example, I guarantee you that one of the assumptions made in this video will be, one of the calculations made in this video will be how much gold is actually in a coin. Tell me I'm wrong.
About as much as is in a dollar.
None.
2 fictional economies, yay.
There you go.
Fiat currency! But, yeah. So, see, I've run into this problem trying to figure out, okay, how much is a D&D sword actually worth in real life?
The Mushroom Kingdom runs on Bitcoin, of course.
Problem solved. And on that bombshell, it's time to end. Thank you very much. No, Nate's not going to let me get out of this. Okay, well.
Start the video.
Yep.
Right now.
Okay.
A room full of suits of armor, a giant haunted crib, and a graveyard that you'll be dying to get into. We'll be pricing it all as we get a tour through Luigi's Mansion today on this edition of Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous.
That's a scary mansion.
It is. I really need to find my copy of Luigi's Mansion because it needs to be streamed.
At impressions and accents. Oh, it is embarrassing. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Game Theory, where, first and foremost, where are my notification squad at? Shout out to all those loyal bell ringers. Now, today we're finally doing an episode I planned to do back in October, but then FNAF just had to release a game. Luigi, always being forced to play second fiddle. First to Mario, and now to Mangle. Then again, is it really that big of a deal? This is a video covering Luigi's Mansion, a game released over 15 years ago. I'd say the window for relevant hype has sufficiently passed. Or has it? Yeah, it really has, but it is worth noting that last summer Nintendo released a new Luigi's Mansion arcade game, exclusive to Japan. It was one that I actually made sure to check out when I was recently over there. Granted, I had zero idea of how to actually play since, Japanese, but brandishing a giant plastic vacuum was pretty awesome.
Oh, we're going
Anyway,
to
this is
Japan.
gonna end up being a long
Yep.
episode, so let's just skip the rest of the intro and cut right to the chase. Random game selection at a random time of year, jokey FNAF reference, episode start. For those of you unfamiliar with Nintendo's little
About right.
spin-off series, Luigi's Mansion puts you in the shoes of Mario, secretly a sociopath Mario's overlooked and overshadowed brother who, through no merit of his own, has just won a mansion in a raffle he never entered. Gotta say, I am a bit jealous since the best thing I've ever won out of a raffle is a pie, but hey, good for him. I celebrate his victories. You know, come to think of it, it wasn't even a good pie. It was key lime, which is like the Waluigi of pies. Sure, if there's nothing else on the table, you're gonna eat it, but you know, if there's an apple pie on that table, you're gonna go for that one first. Anyway, as it turns out, the whole here's a
got into
free
some weird
mansion
non
thing was
sequiturs.
just a trap put together by King Boo to lure Mario and Co. out into the open and
Would
imprison
it
their
been more on
souls
point if
in
it was a peach
paintings,
cobbler?
as you do.
Yes.
Because in the
Yes,
Mario
it would.
universe, it's always a painting. Mario
Yep.
gets himself caught and Luigi has to strap on his big boy pants, grab the nearest dustbuster, and alternatively suck and blow his way straight to the top of the mansion. It's basically the plot of Resident Evil if the protagonist were an antiquated racial stereotype of Italian immigrants instead of a poorly voiced bundle of polygons.
What? Oh! Oh no!
Now, this all got me thinking, how much did
Yeah,
this
voice
little
acting's pretty
failed
rough.
mission of King Boo's cost? I mean, outside of just being horrendously elaborate, it also had to be seriously expensive. And that's not me just coming up with a random topic for an episode. Money plays a huge role throughout this game, ultimately determining the size of the new mansion that Luigi gets at the end of the game. In other words, there is value to all of this stuff that you see, from the house itself to the gold and jewels contained inside, but how much is it? How rich does this game make Luigi by the end of it? An impossible to answer question, you say? Absolutely. A pointless waste of time considering that the game is a work of fiction. Well, of course it is. But darn it, I'm gonna do it anyway since it gives me an excuse to research the post-2008 housing market, architectural trends through the decades, pixel sizes, run speeds, and currency exchanges, all while talking about one of the most fascinating entries in the Mario canon.
I mean,
now stand aside,
game's
naysayers.
really
I've
good,
got a
so.
date with a fictional haunted mansion. Now, before we can even start pricing mansions, you gotta first know what you're working with. What sort of amenities does your mansion
Pretty
have?
sweet.
Where is it located? How old is it? How many square feet is the darn thing? Is it even really large enough to qualify as a mansion? Well, in order to figure that one out, we gotta start somewhere that's really counterintuitive, Luigi's height. Because as all you loyal theorists know by now, in the cartoonishly misproportioned world of the Mario universe, it's hard to tell exactly what size anything is. As over the last 5 years of this show, I've calculated and recalculated Mario's height no less than 4 times based on varying pieces of evidence, coming up with some pretty wonky results at times, like the fact
Yep.
that Wario is 10 foot tall or 304 centimeters, which was supported by the math, just not by any sort of known logic. Anyway, the
Yeah.
standard we settled on in the Mario at the Olympics video was that Mario is and forever shall be 155 centimeters or 5 foot 1 inches tall. Doing some simple pixel measurements from there, it means that Luigi is 175 centimeters or 5 foot 8. But why do we need to know Luigi's height?
So,
well, knowing it, we can figure
is
out the
gonna get
length
called
of
into
Luigi's
question with
stride and the speed at which
New
he
Donk
moves through this
City.
game. That in turn
So-
allows me to figure out the dimensions of any given room in the mansion by timing how long it takes to get him to run across it. And it has to be measured in time, since it's incredibly difficult to account for the slanted perspective of the game, which would throw off
Yeah.
the traditional pixel measurements of the room. Once I had the data, I was able to build out a pixel to foot ratio that I applied to the in-game mini-map, and from there measured out all the rooms and floors of the house, and several hours of measurements and calculations later, we wound up with a working square footage of this colossal old house sporting 3 whole floors and 36 total rooms. Doing all the math, this thing comes
Are
in
you also
at
counting the
just
basement?
under 30,000 square feet or 2,787 square meters, solidly within the range of what constitutes a mansion, which is considered a meager 8,000 square feet or 743 square meters. Just to give you an idea of exactly how large Luigi's mansion is, here's a picture of Mark Wahlberg's mansion, which is the exact same size. And I use the word mansion loosely because it's not just a mansion, it is a mega mansion. It's about half the size of the White House, or half the size of a football field. And remember, we're talking about the square footage of the house, which, if you've never had the mixed joy and stress of buying a house, is the measure of the finished floors of the home. It's not including the amount of land around the house or any unfinished attics or basements. So when I say that it's half a football field-sized house, I mean that the rooms alone, when laid together, would be the size of half a football field. And sure, those houses are crazy big, but if you want an extreme example of what a 30,000 square foot residence looks like, look no further than our dear President Donald Trump, who actually has a 30,000 square foot apartment in New York. Apartment. The fact that his thing can be classified using the exact same word as my 250 square foot closet that I lived in when I was in New York is just mind-blowing to me. This is a New York apartment. This is just insane. Now, as you can imagine, the prices of a home this size are gonna vary quite a bit. Trump's penthouse, for example, is valued at $100 million, but that's also in New York City, right alongside Central Park. It also happens to be covered in enough gold to stuff Bowser's train bonus level. So his might not be the best example to follow. Looking around more, I found that 30,000 square foot mansions pepper the entire United States, ranging on average between $2 million and $20 million. So where does that leave us? Well, unfortunately, you can't just plug video game mansions into Zillow and get a magical value spat back into your lap. So we're gonna need a little bit more research for this one. First, we have to figure out what kind of house we're looking at. You see, most of the priciest mansions on the market these days are modern constructions with modern amenities, neo-futuristic super castles. When shopping for mansions, or any house really, you need to be aware of how old the house is. Newer homes are always gonna cost you a bit more since everything is fresh and up to code. Now, obviously, this is not the kind of mansion that Luigi finds himself trapped in during his quest to rescue Mario, but to determine the range of prices this house would be operating in, we need to determine just how old it is. And this is actually a really fun question. Fun, of course, if you're a nerd like me who loves overanalyzing in-game details that the developers left in. Because Nintendo was super smart and left little design details that allow us to pinpoint the exact time period when this house would have been built. You see, architecture is a lot like clothes, with design patterns, shapes, and overall home layouts all having trends based on their time period, falling in and out of fashion throughout the years, just like Jenko jeans and snap bracelets. Seriously though, Jenko jeans, you could shove your whole head in that pant leg. What were we thinking? So just how old of a house is this old house? Well, to pinpoint what era it would have been built in, we have to look at the design details. And without even going inside, there's a lot of clues that can help us. First off, check out that roof. That style of steep sloping roof with windows peeking through, where the roof is around the sides of the building, that's known as a mansard roof. You see it a lot in Europe, especially in very historical cities like Paris. But let's not stop there. Looking at the overall layout of the mansion will give us a clue as to when it was built. The mansion is blueprinted out in a simple box shape with no fancy wings or long hallways to different sections of the house. It's very contained, symmetrical. Once you're actually inside, one of the main features is that bold central staircase and a ton of chandeliers. And looking at the actual classifications and uses of the rooms, we can see elaborate ballrooms and art rooms. In short, all of these design details clearly point to one era in architecture, Victorian. And not just any old Victorian style, this mansion very distinctly falls into what's called the Victorian Second Empire style. It's called Second Empire because it's an architectural style that became popular during the reign of Emperor Napoleon III in France. This was a period where the French Empire was rebuilding itself, thus creating a Second Empire in the mid-1800s. Make sense? Second Empire Victorian. Look at that. Video games teaching you about old world European architectural trends. Also online you can find stuff like this. Fun fact, it's also known as Baroque Revival architecture. Actually, that's not a fun fact at all, it's just a fact. It also has no bearing on the episode at all. I tell you it only in the hopes that it may one day be useful to you in a quiz bowl tournament or pub trivia. You know, the places where information truly matters. Anyway, second era houses, even huge ones, are surprisingly cheap as far as mansions go. But don't you go running for those loan applications just yet. They're affordable because they generally require huge modernization investments, including rewiring absolutely everything, repouring the foundation, and just generally making sure that the darn thing doesn't collapse into a pile of dust. Plus, they have practically no insulation to speak of and are going to be drafty as all get out. Green-friendly, these houses are not. The most expensive expensive Victorian mansions come in at just about $30 per square foot, or $30 per 0.1 square meter, which when multiplied out gives our mansion a value of $896,312.03. Less than $1 million for a house the size of half a football field. When you think about it that way, it ain't too bad. But remember, that's just for the shell of the house. Luigi's mansion comes fully furnished. Granted, you might not want that furniture, but you still gotta pay for it. Chandeliers, art, undead baby cribs, heck, it even comes with its own graveyard, which, and this is a fun fact, would cost over $70,000 to get rid of if you wanted to legally relocate the human remains. Notice, though, that I said legally.
Luigi.
Anyway,
Your secret is safe with me.
Add into that amount all the antique furniture, china, 3 leopard skin rugs, a giant harp, and 9 full suits of armor. Yes, I counted. And you're looking at an extra $400 grand from all the junk inside of it. And mind you, that's not including the cost you'd have to pay for the army of Roombas you'd want roaming the place. I mean, seriously, every time Luigi humps a new cabinet, dust just pours out of that thing.
Oh yeah.
yep.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh no, Luigi.
Oh yeah.
Stop that.
Oh no.
Stop that.
Anyway, this brings our total cost of Luigi's Mansion to $1,300,000, or basically what Ryan's Toy Review channel earned off its 680 million views in the month of December. How's that make you feel? We're all getting out-earned by a 4-year-old. YouTube, maker of dreams. All right, I'm not a 4-year-old toy
think we need to
reviewer,
start
so that
reviewing toys.
$1.3 million might
Anyway.
be a little bit more than I'm willing to pay, but I'm in luck. Luigi's Mansion might still be in our price range thanks to the rules around stigmatized properties. You see, any house or property that's had something terrible or stigmatizing happen in it can be drastically reduced in value. Murder, stigmatized. Suicide, stigmatized. The ghost of Luigi hanging itself in the attic, that property be stigmatized.
Whoa, now.
Son, and stigmatized property
That
is the
was a
best. It's
hell of
like
a
Black
reference
Friday
in the
deals for
in
murder
the-
dens.
in the
Price
game.
reductions going as high as
Remember that?
25%. Best of all,
You
it
don't
doesn't
remember that?
matter
I
when
don't
the
wanna remember
tragedy
that.
occurred. The stigmatization can last for decades. Turns out people tend not to want to live in homes that were scenes of brutal murders. But I guess I could understand why. Bloodstains are impossible to get out of the carpet. I've tried bleach, I've tried vinegar, I've tried baking soda. None of it works. So when it comes to Luigi's Mansion, sure,
Lemon
maybe
juice.
not every ghost died in there, but seriously, we can be pretty sure that a mother, father, and their infant child met an unfortunate end inside its halls. The rooms are still decked out for this family. So assuming you're comfortable living in the presence of the Walking Dead, it makes our final running total for Luigi's entry on the MTV Cribs programming slate a cool $986,000. Just shy of $1 million. What a steal! So Luigi becoming the owner of his own mansion isn't gonna quite make him as well off as you might expect. Or does it? You see, the big twist here is that while the mansion might not be worth all that much, the piles and piles and piles of extra treasure that are hidden inside that mansion in the form of gems, coins, dollar bills, and frickin' gold bars are worth a whole heck of a lot more. And they're real, as we see Luigi using all of this wealth at the end of the game to pay for his new house. So, using the cheapest value of a good delivery gold bar at the smallest size of 350 troy ounces, or just over 10 kilograms to determine the approximate value of 1 G. G, which is the game's currency. By doing that, I learned that these ghosts have dumped over $500 million worth of change in between those couch cushions. Holy gold standard, Batman. No wonder Luigi is so excited to hump the furniture. Who is bankrolling these ghosts? And if you think that I'm pulling that number out of thin air, oh no, my friends, think again. We priced as much as we could. Here's a brief glimpse of that shopping list. In other words, in one rundown mansion, King Boo and his thugs crammed over 500 other mansions worth of treasure into the place. Just sitting there waiting to be vacuumed up? Suck on that, Mark Wahlberg. You and your mansion ain't cutting it. Luigi is worth a cool 500 mil. What are you at? What? 200? Huh, sucks to be you. Actually, no. No, it probably doesn't. So, loyal theorists,
No, it doesn't.
there you have it. If you want to get rich, be sure to find a giant, haunted, Second Empire-era Victorian mansion filled with ghosts who have no idea what the value of the dollar is. But in
That
the
was
end, the true
pointedly
moral of
magicked
today's
into
episode that we can all walk away with is this. Sure, we all may feel bad for Luigi because he's the forgotten brother and all that, but seriously, save your tears. The guy's got more money than all of us put together. I looked it up. There are 2,600 people in the world who have have $500 million or more. He is the 0.0001%. So you know what? Suck it up, Luigi, you filthy rich bastard. But hey, that's just a theory. A game theory. Thanks for
Does this
watching.
look like the face of mercy?
Okay.
All right. So I guess the problem that I'm running into here, and big surprise, everybody knew there was going to be one. The mansion pointedly disappears
That's right.
at the end. King Boo is keeping that mansion existing. So that mansion, realistically, is worth nothing.
That's fair.
However, all the money apparently exists, which is weird.
Well, if
Of course, I mean, that gets into the problem of how. I mean, all the ghosts exist, and so I'm going with extra dimensional space in the vacuum cleaner. That's where I'm going.
well, it can suck up ghosts. I mean, how else do you deal with ghosts?
I mean, who you gonna call?
Dan Aykroyd? Bill Murray?
You're damn Skippy, you are.
Ernie frickin' Hudson?
Ernie friggin' Hudson.
And I would call Harold Ramis, but I'd have to hire a different. I'd have to hire a medium.
He might be on the other side of the ghost at this point. Still, you know.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting to be sure, but I feel like determining the worth of the old mansion kind of pointless.
Well, as he showed, it wasn't the mansion that was.
I mean,
causing
all the
value.
money inside, yes, but feel like he was padding for time there.
Well,
Because-
the conclusion we can draw from the price of the old mansion is that the new mansion he builds has to be way more expensive because a new construction that doesn't have all the hurdles of a really old house would
Now, let me.
be worth a lot more.
It's been quite a while since I played Luigi's Mansion,
Mm-hmm.
and I want to look at. This is assuming you collect every single piece of treasure.
Mm-hmm.
You end up getting a ranking at the end of the game.
Yeah.
The amount of money is
You get
is
an
what
A. You get a
determines
massive.
the
Like,
size of the mansion. Yes.
I got B the first time through, and then I got nothing but A's after.
Yeah, I got an A the first time too.
Alright.
Time through.
Oh, I
Which
got.
I was quite proud of.
I missed the A by a little bit.
Oh yeah, just by like that much, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That shook one or two more vases, and I'd have probably found enough.
Right. Finish the game with 100 million G or more. So that is the new mansion
Mm-hmm.
at rank A.
Yeah. The L. Yeah, the giant L on the top. Yeah.
So
Uh huh.
that mansion, let's see if that mansion is necessarily comparable size-wise.
Well, with the new construction, it's not even so much about size at that point.
It's true.
Well, as it said, in order for it to be qualified as a mansion, has to be at least 8,000 square feet.
Well, yeah, which is, I mean, you could go a lot smaller than the haunted one, and it still be
true.
considered a mansion. But since
Yeah.
it's new construction, it could be smaller, but the price still be higher because
Yeah.
it would be a modern construction.
Well, that's true, and I'd say, in terms of his mansion, cost maybe, I don't know, like 20 to 25 million to build.
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair.
I mean, it
Well, I mean, we don't know.
depends on the amenities.
Yeah, we also don't necessarily know what kind of construction costs we're dealing with in the Mushroom Kingdom.
I was gonna say if it's the imagine if you will, it's Princess Peach, and the Toad construction crew. She hires her Toad construction crew.
You know, honestly,
Now, see, if it were me, I'd hire Goombas and pay them under the table, so I wouldn't have to worry about insurance.
Jesus, always a workaround for you, eh, Micah?
That's right.
see, honestly,
Anything
I
to
feel
cheat
like
the government.
I feel like you get Koopas.
Eh,
You know, you've got the
Hammer Bros.
You've got the Hammer Bros. You've got the Koopas. You've got the Paratroopas.
yeah. Oh, and plus,
Lakitu.
Lakitu.
yeah, you get Lakitu. You get your foreman over top. You know, recording with a camera. It's like, no, it needs to go over there.
Yeah. See, I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah, and
But
also, you think about look at Bowser's castle versus Peach's castle.
look, Bowser's got to fund that castle somehow.
Well, not only that, but the castle is a lot more in terms of masonry is a lot more impressive.
He's probably in
than Peach's
academia and just
castle.
writes a bunch of grants.
Grants.
Or grant proposals, rather.
That's a lot harder than you think.
I actually applied for a grant one time.
How'd that go for you?
Didn't work very good. I even hired someone, to write the grant for me.
Wow.
Didn't work.
Yeah, grants are not an easy thing to write.
No.
Were you a tenure professor in the university system when you wrote said grant?
No, actually, I was I was trying to get into independent filmmaking.
Who are you writing the grant to?
Well, it was to a it was to a certain art school that gave out a certain amount depending on which project they wanted to fund. And nope. There we go.
Yeah, so it looks like his new mansion isn't quite as big as his old mansion.
As the ghost mansion.
Yeah, but I mean you can't really get around the fact that that mansion is worth a bunch of money, but it disappears. That mansion no longer exists at the end of the game.
Yeah, but the new one, even if it's small, would have to be worth way more.
Yeah,
I mean, even
but
if it was a small
that
mansion.
also means
Also, can you see the inside? Because if it finishes the basement,
That counts as well.
I mean
That's true.
that goes into the overall pricing
And the
from
attic.
finished square footage. So,
And the attic as
you
well.
never actually see the inside.
so we don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean the money amount. Okay, I mean that's gonna fluctuate over time,
mm-hmm.
but that seems like a fairly accurate calculation. So
Oh, Ben, you remember the hanging Luigi, right?
I don't think I do.
Okay, up in the attic, in the background,
Mm-hmm.
there's lightning flashing, and
Yes.
it shows your shadow on the ground with you.
Mm-hmm.
When you go in front of one window, it actually shows your shadow elevated, and it's actually not moving with you. It's actually staying there in the middle of a beam.
I do not remember that at all.
Now, let me see if I can...
Now, granted, I played this not long after it came out, and at a particularly rough time in my life. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that I don't remember this.
Yeah, here it is right here.
Okay. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. That's it right there.
Huh.
Yeesh.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
Elevated off the ground. That's a
That's-
scary thing. Actually, let me bring it back up
It's
on the screen.
odd. Yeah, I'll give you that.
That's one of the theories is that the game developers put that in there to kind of do a scare because that's closer to the end.
Yeah.
The ghosts are trying to be spoopy.
Yep.
Trying to mess with
Although,
your head.
to be fair, how easy is it to be spooky when when you look at this ghost, it blushes and essentially no longer exists? And B, how hard is it to be spooky when you've got a face like that boo?
it's they're doing the Evil Dead thing. They're inventing a new genre.
Yeah.
Instead of horror comedy, it's spoopy cute.
Spoopy cute.
Spoopy cute.
That's about right.
Oh boy. All right. So
But
I think that's gonna do it for this episode
Yeah,
of
I'd say
Renegades
so.
React. This was once again Luigi, the richest man in the Mushroom Kingdom. Richest man in the Mushroom Kingdom. Yes, by Game Theory.
Yep.
And if you want to see the original video, check it out in the link down below. Also, don't forget to check out our Patreon if you want to be a patron saint of the Renegade Nation. They're listed down below. You will be listed down there as well if you become a donator to our patron page. And I guess that's going to do it. So until next time, everyone, take care, and we will see you later. Peace out.